Hi folks, this is class exercise number 7, task C. I'm redoing a clarification on task C with it, and I'm going to add one more step to this to be clarified with what I'm doing with this. So this video, this part right here will be removed. I'm going to remove this right here for this part right here. So I'm going to disregard this part right here, so do not do that. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to put the new whatever link that I have, the new file that I'm going to upload on you as well with it. So let's do this. Let me talk to you about the couple of things with it. So there are several ways you could display a lot of things through JavaScript with it. And one of the things there are 4 ways in here. I'm going to add a 4th one in here as well with it. You're going to be writing what's called a console.log, and in the console.log you're going to just write your text in here like hello world. This is one of the first exercises that we do in JavaScript with it as well. So I'm going to show you, but there's a little plugin that you need to download. Let's do the first 3 bullets first with it. I'm going to talk about the innerHTML with this. So the innerHTML is to access the HTML element inside between the body with it as well. So the JavaScript can use what's called the document.getElementById. Remember the ID we've been using all this time, this method with it? Method, function, same thing, all right? The second one is that the ID attributes define the HTML elements with it. So you could change the elements inside it with JavaScript with it. This is what this is. So let's try this out first with it. I'm going to open up the Visual Studio, what we currently have with it. And let me clarify something here, and let me do this. Let me take out the part where we just did it. This is task C, right? So I'm just going to start with the basic skeleton like this. This is the basic skeleton for right now. So this is task C. This is all task C right now with it. If you can start with this basic skeleton at this time right now with it. Can we do that? Give you a second to get caught up here. So I'm just going to start with a clean slate. My apology that my last video, for some reason, it kind of faded out and didn't render the last 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I add a lot of confusion to a lot of folks here. I'll give you a second. If you want to pause the video, go ahead and put in your skeleton in here. This is what it looks like with it. All right. So the first thing I want you to do is we're going to look at is the what's called the innerHTML, and the innerHTML allows you to use the method getElementById, all right, with it. So let's do something very, very simple inside of this first of all with it. So I'm gonna come in here. Let's do an H1 element tag with this, and you can say something along the line. This is using HTML. Using innerHTML in this demonstration, in this exercise. So by using the innerHTML, it defines the properties that you define in the HTML element inside of this. This is what this is about with it, right? And come down here and let's do a paragraph tag. And in this paragraph tag, you're going to do ID, and you're going to open up the quote. Let's call this thing demo right now with it, all right? And I'm going to close this quote. This is just closing out the quote of the paragraph tag with it, all right? Now, inside of this, you're going to start the script tag. Use your IntelliSense, hit tab. I'm going to hit enter. So anything between here, I'm going to use the document variable dot, and I'm going to, as you can see, the IntelliSense picks up the getElementById. So you can click on that. And if you open up your left parentheses and you put the double quotes and put in the word demo. So this demo is the same demo as the ID that's up here with it. All right. And come to the right of that parentheses with it. And if you do innerHTML with it, and you're going to set that equal to 5 plus, I don't know what I call this, 5 plus 10. Last time I don't remember what the number is. I made up those numbers. So, and if you save this, I'm going to save this right now with it. So this is the first part. All right, this is the first part in this right here with it. So you know, like I said, you can find your task C. You should install your live server right now. Click on it. It's going to load the live server, and I'm going to put this in the background of this, and this is what it looks like right now. So using innerHTML exercise, this is what it looks like is 15, right? We say 10 plus 5 is 15 on that code with it. So that's what it comes out to be here with it as well. All right, so it allows you to use the inner paragraph is what you're using here is the 15 that actually goes here with it. Fine, yeah? All right, the next step I need for you to do, we're going to separate this to go to number 2, is we're going to do the horizontal rule, HR. Just to separate that line, just draw a line across it with it. So in this next exercise we're going to do is I want you to look at is what's called the document.write. All right, the document.write allows you to hang on, before we get too far with this, let me just document with what the inner does with it, because I wrote a test question on this. I'd like for you to know. So it's basically changing the inner HTML property of an HTML elements is common way to display data in HTML. Okay, so this is a very common way how to display HTML. You could use it just to modify different types of paragraphs and all that stuff with it. All right. And then I did a horizontal rule line across it. And the next one we're going to use is, I want you to come in here, let me zoom in a little bit with it. The next one we're going to come in, we're going to talk about what's called the document.write. And the document.write is another way you could actually use this. So when do I do this? I'm going to use the same H1 tags on the top, come down to the bottom here. Let me just paste that here. And I'm going to say using the document.write method, okay, or functions you can so call in this exercise below with it. So what am I doing here? So in here you can do the same thing what you just did up above with it, but you can use what's called, you're still going to use the script tags with it, and instead of saying document get element by ID in it, you can say document.write with it. And inside of this, whatever you put inside of this, remember now, this is not a string. You do not put quotes in here. String is between a quote. In other words, is a quote is a literal with it. So let's say up here, I'm not passing across the word demo or anything like that with it. I'm just going to put in some sort of operator plus a number like this, for example, and come to the right of it. I'm going to put a semicolon to end it with it. So what is this going to write? It's going to write 5 plus 6 is going to do the math. It's going to be 11. Okay. So after this, I should have 11 in this thing. Correct. So Control S saves it, and I want to look at this from my screen behind, and you're going to see. Look, here is the number 11 right here. You see, using document.write is in the header, and number 11 is demonstrated right here as well. So at the same time, so let me go ahead and put the horizontal rule to separate what we just did. Okay, so wrong one. Actually, that's not a bad idea with it. Let me use that. So let me bump this to align that, make sure everything's aligned here, and let me start doing the next one with you. What was that? Let me pull up the exercise that we just did. So that was number 1. We covered number 2, number 3. Okay, so if you did another one, it's the same one. It's a document.write. After the HTML is loaded, you're going to delete the existing HTML. So let me show you what I mean by that one with it as well. So in this same statement, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing the button in this one. All right. So I think this is where I left off last time with it, and they got chopped off. So in here, what you're going to do, you're going to still do the same one. You do H1 tag with it, and between the h1 tags with it, we're going to say something along the line. This is still going to be using the HTML, the document.write method, but this is going to basically it's going to how should I word this thing? It's going to be that once the HTML is loaded, we'll delete all existing HTML. So so let's take a look at this. So I'm going to come over to here. I'm going to do the button. Start with the button, and I'm going to do type is a button. You put that in a quote. And when on click, what do you want to happen? You're going to do document.write. And in this case, I'm going to put, let's put 25 plus 6. Okay. It looks like that right now with it. And I'm going to come to the right of that quote sign. Let me zoom out. Come to the right of that quote sign, the right quotation sign. Close off that button tag. In the middle, I'm going to say, try this. How about try clicking this? Okay. So I'm going to have that message on the button when I do this right now. Control S. I'm going to save it. Control S. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to move this out of the way with it. So here is the screen that's on the live server. I click on it. Look at that. It deletes everything with it. It removes everything off of that screen, and it takes it to whatever's replaced. All right. So let me refresh that. This is what you had before. Try clicking this. So that's what I'm talking about. It's going to remove everything that's existing on the screen, because after it's loaded, so this particular document, that when you put this using what's called the button, it's going to wipe everything across the screen with it as well. All right. So let me bring the screen back. All right. So that's what my demonstration will do. Now this last part, right? So we did 1, 2, and 3. One more. This last one is a little tricky. Then that's why I kind of reserve having you do this, because this is where we start out in my IT SE 13 11 is the JavaScript classes. You need to have what's called, this is the text editor. The second tool that you need to install, and I'm going to ask everybody to install this, is what's called the Node.js with it. So let me show you where that is. So if you go up to, if you pull, here's the browser. Here's the web browser. Let's pull this one. Let's pull up another web browser. I'm gonna do Google, and I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna do Node space JS download. Okay, and I want you to search that, and here is where you're gonna find is the download.js. Click on it. Find one of your operating system. Hopefully you use the Windows installer or the Mac installer. It doesn't matter what you use with it. Here's what not to do with this. Well, I hope none of you are running what's on a tablet. Tablets are not really considered as a workstation with it. So I'm going to assume that you have a Windows 10, something that's 2-3 years old. Click on this. This will download it. And if you look at the download file, this is where everything is downloaded. Once you download, I'm going to use this right here to download it. You have to use this to install this. You save this MSI file with it, and it looks like this. Okay, so it looks like this. I had this thing installed a couple of times already, so I'm going to walk you through this, but I can't install it 2-3 times with this. So I'm going to click on this file. I'm going to just do as much as I can. I can't move forward because I have it installed already, right? So walk through this, install through this, and let me see if I can find a computer that haven't been installed so I can show you what actually happens. I'm going to stop this. This is the end of part 1 of task C of class exercise number 7. End of class exercise number 7, task C, part 1. End of part 1.